Okay, so look, I think I might title this like my men's empathy series, and these are gonna be a series of explanations and techniques and stories that can kind of bring awareness to mainly women and the rest of society around what men go through, so that society and women can actually get what they want from us. Because a lot of what's happening is that society and women aren't aware truly of men's physical, emotional, or spiritual state. So they keep getting these undesired results from us. So it's finally time to understand. So let's kind of get into this first one. Uh Women's episode one, women's emotions and our emotions and dealing with this. Okay, so we're gonna go real slow here, right? Emotions and feelings. Uh, we all have them, okay? Men and women, right? Masculine and feminine energy. Both man and woman both contain both feminine and masculine energy. Okay, so that's the baseline. Somewhere along the line, though, and we say from history, it could be religious. I'm not sure exactly, right? Like we say it's hormonal, but we begin to attribute emotions and expressions like more to women somewhere along the line, right? I'm not sure exactly what grade in school it is, or what point in life, but we start attributing that to women. And what I'm here to say today is that that's a huge issue and a problem that is, for one, hurting men and the rest of society. So the first thing that I would love for women to have empathy over is if slash when a man can't communicate his emotions in the way that she is requesting. And I say this because, again, if we go ahead and go back to somewhere in grade school or whenever, men's emotions or boys' emotions are beginning to be suppressed. They're beginning to be more in this physical realm, while women are supposed to and are encouraged to be intuitive. Now, historical context and worldly context, women do have this, because they are the womb bearers, right? Like they have this different connection to the spirit and earth than men have. And that's fine. I'm cool with that. But what we're seeing right now with the turmoil in a lot of relationships, though, is that like men have been suppressing things for a long time, and there hasn't been any safe space for them to like get that out. And around men, it can work sometimes, but truthfully, though, a lot of the men's things, whenever it's one group, it can kind of get like an echo chamber. So that's why it's really important that, no, like the woman listens. So let me show you how difficult this is, right? And again, difficult, and it's not something that women do on purpose or that like they want, but this is what's happening, right? Is that I'm not sure for how long this has been happening either throughout history, right? But a woman has her period once a month, and it's generally accepted that during that time period of her period, that she is going to be, hormonally unbalanced, which is natural, right? That's the natural part. And I guess the part that we've also accepted is that she's going to be, or she can be, and it's okay if she is emotionally volatile. Now, we teach women that it's okay for them to be emotionally volatile, but we don't teach men how to deal with an emotionally volatile woman. Now, again, there's no shame in being emotionally volatile if that's what naturally happens when the hormones are thrown off from something like a period or pregnancy. However, it is dire that we give men compassion, empathy, and gratitude for working and dealing with women in a society when society has not prepared them to deal with this. Now, similarly with pregnancy, and even more with pregnancy, right? There have been multiple studies that have came out in recent years strictly because of the fact that men are getting burnt out from this emotional holding they have to do. And the studies show that men are also affected by pregnancy. Let me bring some awareness to you, ladies, and the rest of society. Currently, it is again the accepted experience that a woman's hormones will be unbalanced for the entirety of pregnancy and even 6 months to a year afterwards. So let's say 16, 18 months. So what we're saying is that it's we accept and we encourage the woman to be her natural primal self and be emotionally unstable or imbalanced for 18 months. Again, cool. What we don't teach is our men how to deal with an emotionally unstable woman for 18 months. Now, before I continue on, I want to be clear. When I say emotionally unstable, that emotional instability can lead to what feels like abuse. Okay? Verbal abuse is verbal abuse. Emotional abuse is emotional abuse, no matter if you're on a period, if you're pregnant, if you got a new job, if you lost a parent. Look, the thing about it is, at the core, it's still abuse, right? So, what I want to bring empathy to, right, is that we are subjecting men to this experience where we are telling them that they have to honor and harbor this emotional abuse for women because women are divine, special, magical beings. But by this, what is happening is that men's value and especially men's emotional value is feeling diminished. It's feeling like emotions aren't an important thing or feelings aren't something for us to consider. So then we see the current state of the world is that yes, men have been trained for a long time to suppress what they are feeling because somebody else is feeling. So again, I just maybe you take time to think about this, right? But there's two scenarios, right? Either we say that it's appropriate for women to act this way, cool. But then we need to have training programs for men on how to deal with this and then also provide men support knowing that in those 18 months of pregnancy that he will be abused in some way. And again, not purposely or intentionally, but it is what it is. The second option is that we make a stand against what we call hormonal imbalance and the reactions that it leads to in the real world. And we also begin to honor and investigate men's emotions more, especially in high sensitivity sessions or time periods like periods or pregnancy. Either way, we will move forward, but that's the current state of things. And I made this video so that women and society can become more aware of the conundrum that men are put in these different time periods of periods and pregnancy. So that's it for now. Peace.